This is session number 17 of the audio series Overcoming Social Anxiety Step by Step. In this session, we are going to discuss and begin to solve a problem that has plagued most of us for a long time. This is the issue of anger and anxiety, and how these two negative emotions are tied together in our minds. This subject has been deliberately saved until the end of the series because it takes a solid cognitive foundation first for you to begin to put this into place into your life effectively. As you already know by this time, not everyone with social anxiety disorder is alike, but the vast majority of us have a history of unpleasantness stemming from our childhood, be it a daily barrage of criticism, emotional upheavals in the home or family, being put down by peers at school, or some other emotionally traumatic event that we had to live through when we were younger. Since we are all different, some of you may not have had a negative childhood, and you may not need to use this next method. But listen to it, please, and judge for yourself, because if you do need it, it is an essential piece of the social anxiety puzzle. When we were younger, we could not talk back or be assertive with those who were then in control of our lives. For example, if an adult was critical of you while you were growing up, his criticisms may have hurt and stung you, but in most cases you could not answer back because of your natural anxiety and fear. As children and adolescents, we did not have the ability, and many times the permission, to be assertive. So what did we do with all the anger that was created in us because of these experiences? Since we couldn't get the anger out, we buried it or repressed it. We couldn't fight back at the time, and we weren't allowed to express our anger. So what else could we do but hold it in? We have been holding in our anger for many years. It is this buried anger that contributes to the vicious cycle of social anxiety. Now, we need to be careful because anger is one of the more negative emotions. We want to be able to release our buried anger, that is, anger from the past, without having to go back and revisit it. It will do us no good at all to go back and try to remember all the injustices we suffered at a younger age. That will only fan and fuel our symptoms and make everything worse. What we need to do is allow our minds to release, let go, and set free of buried anger from the past, so the past no longer has any power over us. Note that the secret to doing this, however, is that we handle the buried anger in a rational, positive manner. We are not going to fan it or fuel it. We are not going to exacerbate it or deliberately try to bring it to the surface. We need to handle anger in a general way, not by remembering anything specific at all, but simply by giving your brain permission to release this pent-up anger in any legitimate way that it can. Notice we are not forgiving anyone here, and we are not doing any analyzing about this. We are simply going with the facts. We have some buried, repressed anger in us that occurred as a result of other people at another time in our lives. Nevertheless, it is buried or repressed in our minds, and we have to be the ones to let it go. This we will do in a general way, not by looking for anything under the microscope. Let's begin the process with a few things you can say to yourself that will help. Edit this statement in any way that you want, but you should say something along these lines. I have buried, repressed anger inside me due to years and years of emotional abuse. This is legitimate anger, and I have every right to be angry. I was younger when this happened to me, and I didn't know how to handle these situations. That's perfectly normal. Even though this was entirely unfair, I know that complaining about it or rehashing it over and over will just make things worse. It does me no good to dwell on these things anymore. In fact, the more I dwell on the past, the angrier and more helpless I feel. Instead, I choose to move forward with my life. Although I cannot forget what happened in the past, I can let go of the emotional feelings, the anger that is buried in my mind. Repressed anger is holding me back from living the kind of life I want to live. So for myself and for my own healing, I let go of those old, buried, negative emotions. I set them free, I release them, I let them go. I give my brain permission to set those negative emotions free, whether I am asleep or awake, conscious or not conscious. I am going to live in the present and be free of the emotional garbage of the past. Our next handout will help you to be able to set any buried or repressed anger free. It is called letting go of the negative past. Keep in mind that all you need to do is give your brain permission to let the negative repressed emotions go. After you have done that, go on to something else. That is all you need to do. However, read this handout over every day for a while until you sense or feel a change in regard to your feelings about the past. That is, you will still remember everything that happened to you at a younger age, but there will come a time when there is no negative emotion associated with it. It is a fact, but no longer do you need to feel any negative emotional pull. What do I mean? I had some very negative things happen to me as a child. There wasn't a day that went by where I wasn't criticized or put down or belittled. I could never have my own opinion because I was always wrong. And because this bullying was so intense, I could not fight back at my age. I buried all my anger, years and years of it, because there was no possible way I could have been assertive while this was going on. So as an adult, my dilemma became, how do I move beyond my past so that it no longer has such a negative emotional grip on me? And the solution to this dilemma was letting my mind release all my repressed anger. This process always takes some time to accomplish, and you must stick with it. Making this statement one time is not going to do the trick. But if you go over this handout every day until you notice some changes, you will be on the right path. We do not want to be held back because of the buried anger inside us. That is our motive, and that is why we are allowing our mind to let it go. Again, we are not forgiving anyone, and we are not excusing anyone. We must be concerned here with our own health, our own progress, and our own life. If we had a traumatic past, it was not our fault. But we want to move beyond it so that we can enjoy our present life today. This next handout is called Letting Go of the Negative Past, Embracing the Positive and Healing Future. I accept myself for who I am. I have many good, creative talents I can use to help others and myself. That old emotional baggage from the past can only drag me down, so I reject it. I choose to live in the moment and be happy and content. When I am happy in the present moment, it guarantees that my future will be happy. I give up and set free all the negativity of the past, no matter how far down in my brain it is buried. I accept myself for who I am, knowing that I am walking the road to becoming healthier. Any thought, memory, or experience in the past that is weighing my brain down today and causing my progress to stall, I let it go, I set it free, I give it up. I give up anything that is buried in my past that makes me unhappy today. I take a deep breath, loosen up my muscles, feel the calmness and the peace, and set free all the negative emotions of the past. I release the negative feelings that I repressed in the past. I can see they only harm me, so I release them and let them go. I watch as they disappear completely into the air. Negative feelings and emotions can only weigh me down and cause me problems. So I choose to move forward. I choose to move forward with a clear mind. I release all the negative emotion of the past, and I breathe in the positive power of my peacefulness. I accept this peace.